Okay, so where are we in Ajrumiyyah? Okay, so we have covered quite some topics. Honestly, the main two things that are left in terms of mu'arabat with regards to ism are these two topics. One of them is الأسماء الخمسة, inshallah, something that we'll be studying today. Another one is غير منصرف والممنوع من الصرف, which is something inshallah we'll be studying next week. So as usual, let us start with our simple sharh. I think we can probably for this topic, we can just start with this text instead of the simple sharh, mumti'. We can use the other book. Okay, so we don't have to go back and forward. Usually I start with the simple text because, it's kind of like warm up. You get the gist of the topic, and then I use this book if there are any intermediate, any additional information that you need to know. But here I think they pretty much say the same thing. So I'll just start with this one. Okay. So what is this concept of al-asma'ul khamsa? What is al-asma? Al-asma is the plural for ism. So it is, here we're talking about nouns. Ism can be name also. Here we mean noun. Now, khamsa, it is 5. So we're basically talking about the 5 nouns. Sounds very interesting, right? So here in entire Arabic language, we have 5 words, 5 nouns. It's treated differently than any other words. Now, some say there are 6. So I'll mention the other one. And then, but that is not used that often. And there are also ikhtilaf, there are also difference in the opinion. But for example, Qatranada and Alfia, they will mention 6. So I'll mention them, don't worry. But the most important 5 words are these, al-asma'ul khamsa. Okay, so what happens, so as I mentioned, in entire Arabic language, we have these 5 words. They act a little bit differently than the other ones. Okay, so that's why we have to dedicate the entire chapter. And if the issue with these words are that some of them or most of them we use very often. Okay, so even though it's only 5 words, why do we care? Why do we have to spend too much time? Honestly, we didn't have to, but the problem is the words, these words we use very often. Okay, so what are those words? So they write it one way, but I'm just gonna write just the word itself so you'll recognize them. So we have ab. Okay, abun is father, and we have akh, brother. So father and brother, both of these words fall under this category. Okay, and then we have hamu. This is something inshallah I'll explain. And then we have fu. I'll also explain. And we have dhu. I'll also explain. So I'm pretty sure you guys are most probably familiar with these two without a doubt, and perhaps dhu as well, right? So these 5 words, we have to dedicate an entire sessions, and there are a lot of discussions, maybe I'm not going to go into too much of them, but we have to study them separately. Why? And you'll see why. Now, so here, usually when we talk about these 5 words and being al-asma al-khamsa, because these words actually, they have 2 states. They can act 2 different ways. By and large, when you use it, abun, no problem. This is your standard word. We don't have any problem. Okay, remember, when we study, Ajrumiyyah, especially grammar course, when we study, what do we care? Why are we studying? What we want to find out? What is our goal? What are we analyzing? The state. Yes. So basically, we want to know. Honestly, sometimes they don't even care the meaning. They just want to know, okay, we have this word. We want to know how do we indicate it, the raf, nasb, jar, and all other states. right? So we're just thinking about this one. Do we put dhamma or we put something else? By and large, this word will be your standard asal. We have, we have a dhamma for the state of raf. Okay, you have abun. Okay, so you can say ja'a abun, a father came, and then you can say ra'aitu, ra'aitu aban, I saw a father, and of course we have marar to be abin, I passed by a father. So here we don't have any problem. We have simple stuffs. We know these are your asal. Everything is fine. So what's the problem? Why do we care? Same thing would be with the akh. So that's why you have to understand these words. They have two different personality, so to speak. Like they have two different states. When it's used by itself, they are fine. They're just like normal. But the situation happens when they are in idafa. When they're mudaf, then these words act differently. Okay, so this is something that we have to understand. So main thing, first thing you have to know is these words. We have these 5 words, you have to memorize them, because if you don't know them, it doesn't make any sense. There are only 5 words, that's all we ask. The 5 words you have to know, especially these 3. There's no excuse, you have to know these 3. And then the fu would be the next important word, and hamu, it's used as well. Make sense? So a few things to remember. Number 1, they have 2 different states. Just don't think just because you have ab, it's not the ab. When we say abun, we're not talking about al-asmaul khamsa. Here, even though it's the same word, we will not say this is asmaul khamsa. We will say asmaul khamsa when they fall into these conditions. And the first condition is that it has to be mudaf. And that's why when they say these 5 names, they always put it on idafa. They are not saying, they're not writing ab here. Although this is the word that we're concerned about, they will put it in idafa. So they're saying abuka. What is abuka means? Your father. Ahuka. See, all of them are in idafa. Make sense? So make sure you understand. Some of them, it has to be in idafa. Like one of them is zu. It usually, I don't recall zu being by itself. It comes always in part of idafa, meaning it will always come as mudaf. Now, in terms of meaning, I'll just quickly go through the meanings. Of course, the father, abu is father, and the brother. I'm just giving you the word meaning. Here it means your father, your brother, and hamu. So what is hamu? Hamu is, it has 2 different meanings. I've seen few books gives different meanings. So by and large, it means the relatives of your in-law. But then also some people say that it is very specific to your father-in-law. Generally, main thing you have to know that it can be father-in-law, okay, or just your I'll just write relatives-in-law, if that makes any sense. Okay, so this is what hamu means. This is what hamu means. It can mean father-in-law, or it can just mean any relatives in-law. It cannot be your relatives. It has to be relatives coming from your husband or your wife's perspective. Okay, as you can see, all 3 of them is kind of relationship. You have a father, you have a brother, and you have a in-laws. Okay, so it's very easy to understand. So what is fu? So he said fuka. Fu is interesting. It is same thing as fam. What is fam? Who can tell me what fam is? What is fam? Yes, mouth. So fu is the same thing as fam. So sometimes they drop the meme, and if you use the fam, inshallah we'll have these conditions. If you use this word with the meme, then it is not your asma al-khamsa. It is your simple, standard noun. But if you are using the same word without the meme, which you're allowed, you can do that. Then it becomes one of these 5 words. So this is your mouth. And what about dhu? Dhu is a very important word. Dhu here, inshallah, we'll talk about a little bit more about dhu, but the meaning that we're interested in is called sahib. What is sahib? Sahib is owner or possessor. Okay, so that's what sahib means. Dhu and sahib, they have the same meaning. And you will see why when we're saying dhuka, when we talk about dhu, here we're saying dhu malin. What does it mean when you say dhu malin? What do you think it means? Yes, all of them indicates that it will be mudaf. Okay, I just mentioned to you that it's not only dhu, every single one of them, if you're talking about al-asmaء al-khamsa, you have to know they are mudaf. Without mudaf, they are not asma al-khamsa. Even the word ab, if the ab comes just like that, without being mudaf, this is not your asma al-khamsa. Even if it comes as mudaf ilayhi, if the word al-ab comes as a mudaf ilayhi, it is not your asma al-khamsa. For example, if I say, I don't know, context. Baitu, you want to say the house of the father. Here is coming as a mudaf ilayhi, not the mudaf. This will not be your asma'ul khamsa. Okay, so inshallah we'll talk about the condition a lot more. So all of them has to be your mudaf. Otherwise, it is not good. So yes, so what is dhu? Owner of the property? Yes. So dhu malin would be owner of property, owner of wealth, owner of money. Usually mal means wealth. Make sense? So this is the first thing you have to know is what are the words we're talking about? These are the words we're talking about. Now I'll mention the sixth one, which is not, as I said, it is not that often used, and there's also ikhtilaf. There's always difference of opinion. Here it says he's taking in the opinion of what Ibn Hisham or Ibn Malik are saying, that they're in the opinion that actually the Asmaul Khamsa is 6, not 5. But he's saying, walakin al-mashhur minha, the most famous of them is 5, which we mentioned. Okay, so that means if we understand this 5 is fine. So what is the one that they're not mentioning is Hanun. So what is Hanun means? By and large, what Hanun means, it's when you refer to something that you don't want to mention it. Meaning, something that is not polite, it is not something good to mention in a society. For example, you want to say about, let's say, private parts, or you want to say something. So you will use the Hanun in a sense that's something that you're not mentioning. See, he says, yustaqbahu dhikruhu. So it is something that you don't want to mention. Both Qatranada and Alfiya, they will mention all 6 of them. So yes, we can say what he's saying, which is I like it actually. If you were to say actually there are 6 words, then fine. But he's saying, but the most important or the most famous one are these 5s, and then it's fine. Make sense, guys? So if you hear al asmaul sitta or asmaul khamsa, you know what we mean. We mean the same thing. Now, so we're in Ajrumiyyah class. We don't care about anything. Only thing we care about, how do we say about these 5 words something that is marfu, mansub, and majrur. And this is where our hukum comes. This is where our hukum comes. It says yurfa'u bil waw. So the way we make it into marfu state, it is by waw. So when you see this one, this word is abuka. Right now, this word is in the marfu state or the raf state. The word is marfu. But yunsabu bil alif. It is in the state of nasb, is alif. And yujarru bil ya. And it will be in the state of jar by ya. So it is kind of interesting in the one way I like these words, because these words, even though they go outside of the asal, they are kind of like trying to stay with the same relationship with those asal. So they have this strong relationship with the asal. How so? Because we know the raf in the state of asal is dhamma, and we know the waw and dhamma, they have a relationship. Okay, so they go together. And the nasb is fatha, right? The asal is fatha, and here we have alif. So here we have this relationship. And we know the jar in asal, we get a kasra, and we have ya for the jar here. Interesting. Make sense? So this is the whole story. So I'll quickly just do one example with our simple examples that we always give, so that the idea is in your mind, and then inshallah we'll look at some of the examples from the Quran and from the book. So let's just use the akh. So you want to say our same example, ja'a. You want to say, if I say ja, I just explained to you, ja ahun. You are not looking at asma'ul khamsa. It is your standard word, ja'a ahun. But it will be when it is mudaf. So let's use what they have. We will use ahuka. Ja'a ahuka. Ahuka. So I'll put the word akh here. So now you know what they mean, that it is being yurfa'u bi waw, because you don't have any waw here, but we have added this waw, make it into what? Marfu when it is mudaf. So ja'a ahuka, and we have ra'aitu akhaka. See what happens? We change the waw into alif. Then we have marartu bi akhika. Okay, so that's what's happening, is that we are changing the harf from waw to alif to ya. And this would be same situation with all of the other words. This is the first thing that you have to know about the asmaul khamsa, which are the words, and basic, the first condition. Okay, first condition is that they have to be in mudaf. They have to be in mudaf. Now, so let's see a few of the examples they have from the Quran. What is the third one? Which third? Oh, third one is Hamu. Hamu is your relative from the in-law side. Hamu can be used to indicate the father-in-law, or it can be just any relatives in-law. So it cannot be your relatives, it has to be your spouse relative. The example, it will be same thing. You can just change, I'll just do one of them. So now you want to say, instead of your brother came, you want to say what? Hamuka. So when you say Ja'a Hamuka, means your in-law came. So Ja'a Hamuka, Ra'aitu Hamaka, same thing. The rules will not change. It will be Marartu bi Hamika. So Ra'aitu, Marartu bi Hamika and Ra'aitu Hamaka. Everything is same. Okay, all of them will be same thing. So you can change any of these words and use it like that, except for the dhu I'll mention, because dhu, you will see dhu, we cannot say kaf. You can say dhuka. That's not going to make any sense. We'll explain that a little bit later. Okay, is it clear now? So now we'll just look at few examples from the Quran. As I said, if you really master one of them, you know all other five. So let's see what we have in the Quran. It says qala abuhum. Qala abuhum. It is yurfa'u bi waw. So we know now abu is in the state of raf. That means abu is the doer. Their father said. Qala abuhum. It's in the Quran. So Allah's not saying qala abuhum. Allah's not saying like that. Abuhum. That's how it should be. But these are your five special words. So we have these waw. Makes sense. And then we have in the Quran, waja'u abahum. Waja'u abahum. Usually we use the ja'a in for the marfu examples. Here they're using the ja'a as a mansub state. How? When you say ja'u, this one means they came. Okay, so they came. This verb you can use as transitive or you can use it intransitive. If you say ja'u, they came, that's fine. That means they came. You don't need any object. But you can also use it as a saying, they came to something. I came to. You can say ji'tu ka. I came to you. Something like that. Okay. So here they're using that they came to who? Abahum. So how do I know that this is an object? Yeah, nasb, good. But how do I know it's nasb? Alif, yes, because of the alif. So we know this is in the nasb. They came to their father. Okay, so they came to their father. Definitely Surah Yusuf, of course, we know what they're talking about. The brothers, I'm pretty sure they're talking about the brothers came to their father to nag about taking Yusuf and do bad things, right? Now, this is also from Yusuf, subhanAllah. I had all of these examples he's giving from the Surah Yusuf. Very interesting. So here it's saying, Raja'u ila abihim. Raja'a is to return. Raja'a is return. So when you say raja'u with waw, it means they returned. Okay. So now again, we're talking first, they come to father asking to take Yusuf. Now they return ila harful jar. After harful jar, what do we have? We have majrur. So how do we know majrur? Because we have ya. Same word is the same word ab. Because it's mudaf, the first we have to add waw for the raf, and we have to add alif for the nasb, and we're adding ya for the jar. So they return to their father. Is it clear, guys? Because I don't want to give you too many examples. I just want to make sure one example thoroughly you guys understand what's going on. Yes, good. Very good, as your brother pointed out something. Because when you say Abu Bakr means the father of the Bakr, right? So here it is because it's part of Idafa, we always have to add wow. Now, if you say going to Abu Bakr, then you change, the Arab will be the same. Or sometimes they say it's narrated from Abu Bakr. So an, when you say an, which is harful jar, you cannot say an Abu Bakr. That's not good. You cannot say an Abu Bakr. You have to say an Abi Bakr. You have to change wow into what? You have to change wow into yeah. You see, the issue with these words is that it's a little bit tricky, but the problem is these words are like we use all the time. So we cannot get away with this. Any question? Any other? There's a lot of examples. I don't feel like we have to see all of the examples. Okay, you know what? This is interesting. I'll just do one because this one, in this one verse, all of these conditions are met, meaning all of these conditions are here. إذ قالوا ليوسف وأخوه أحب إلى أبينا منا ونحن عصبة إن أبانا لفي ضلال مبين. He's saying إذ قالوا, when they said, قالوا, it's talking about the brother, is Yusuf's brother. They're saying that Yusuf وأخوه. So both of them. So now if somebody asks you, what is the state of this word? Because here, Yusuf, you have a dhamma, so it is marfu. So what is the state here? It would be what? It is raf, because wow, excellent. So now you have to also pick up, because when you say, if you think that is spelling like that, and if you don't know the Asmaul Khamsa, and you see the same word with wow, you will not initially recognize or initially will think it has anything to do with father. But if you have this concept in your mind, this Asmaul Khamsa, then you will be, recognize this is the same word, brother, right? So it is in the rough state. So they said that Yusuf and his brother, who's he referring to, whose brother he's referring to, Binyamin, right? Benjamin. He's talking about Yusuf and his brother. Ahabbu. Ahabbu is more beloved. Okay, ila abina. Now you see, if you don't understand Asmaul Khamsa, initially you won't be able to recognize what's happening. You will be looking into dictionary, and look for the word Ali, Hamza, Ba, and Ya. It's not going to be there. You have to recognize this is father. And of course, inshallah, from the context, it will also help you. So here it's saying father, but why we have Ya? Because of harful jar. So the Yusuf and his brother is more beloved to our, the pronoun here is na, which is our father. Minna means from us. Wa nahnu, and we are uzbatun. Uzba, it means, you can think of strong. We're very strong. Okay. Well, inna abana, see here, same word. It's the same word. The abi, we have ila abina, it is abana. Even the pronoun is the same, meaning the mudaf ilay is the same. Abina, abana. So here it is, we know in the nasb, even though if you don't understand, because let's say you don't know why it is in the nasb state, because you don't understand, you don't know the inna, let's say, but at least you have to recognize that this is indeed in the nasb state. And we will study inna, inshallah. Inna makes, what do you call, the mubtada into mansub. We'll study inna, don't worry. So here it is not because of inna. So inna abana, verily our father, lafi dalalin, he is, fi means in, la here is in emphasis. We have two emphasis here, inna and la. The brothers are saying he is dalal is, astray, he's gone wrong. Mubin means clearly or clear. He's gone a clear astray. Basically, they're thinking from their logic perspective. They're like, we don't understand what's going on. Yusuf and his brother is more beloved to our father more than us, and we are strong. They think because they're strong and everything, so they're like, they don't understand how does it work. Verily, our father is in clear misguided. That's what they're saying. The issue here, why he brought this sentence, because as you can see, we have the raf, we have the raf, we have the raf, we have the jar, and we have what? Nasb. All three states are here. Is it clear, guys? So these, don't underestimate Asmaul Khamsa. They are very, very important because they come so often. Some words might not be that often, but the concept you have to master. Yes, maybe you will not see the fu a lot, the mouth, or Hamu, and definitely in Hanun, which we talked about, but it doesn't matter because you still have to master, because the other words comes way too often. Jayed. I'm not going to go with the other ones because he's going the examples with the akh now. Then see, I gave you all the example. I gave you example with the father. I give example with the akh, and now he's giving example with Hamu, which I also give you. Same thing, Hadar, Hamuka, which I already mentioned. And then fu. Now the fu is, the mouth. I have a feeling this is a part of a hadith. He's not saying it, but I have a feeling it is part of a hadith. What does it say? Fuka ratbun bi dhikrillahi. So what is fuka? What would you say? What is fuka means? Your mouth. Excellent. Yes, it would be same thing as famuka. Famuka. Same thing. Your mouth. Ratbun, rutba, it's moisture, like wet. Me here is saying that your mouth is moisture, like always make it moist. By what? Bi dhikrillahi, by remembrance of Allah, by remembering Allah. Okay, so this is what he's saying. So now you can see we can use the same word. You can say famuka radbun bi dhikrillahi. You can say that, no problem. But if we were to use the word fu, meaning remove the meme, then your i'rab has to be al-asma'ul khamsa. Makes sense? So we don't have to go through all other ones. So I'm pretty sure we have seen all of them. So now about the dhu. So the issue with the dhu is few things. Inshallah, we'll see the dhu has a separate conditions we'll talk about. So here it's coming as wallahu dhu fadlin. What is fadl? Fadl is virtue, or fadl has a lot of different meanings. Goodness, it comes in different meanings. So here we're saying wallahu. By the way, we talked about this. Remember, who remembers what is wallahu means? Who can tell me what is wallahu, the whole thing means? Okay, so every time I ask you something, be very careful. I knew you were going to say that. That's why I asked that question. I knew, subhanallah, but I didn't realize that all of you will say the same thing. Guys, this was our first topics, first few things we talk about. Yes, this is and Allah. This is not by Allah. Because if it were your huruful qasam, the oath, then it would be what? You know this, you have to know this. It would be what? The word Allah would be what? Yes, it will be majroor. You see, you think the grammar doesn't make meaning difference. You think the grammar is not important. Look at the difference what you're saying. One is and Allah, and you're saying by Allah. So you have to know if the waw is harful qasam, it is coming as a swear, then the next word, the word that you're doing qasam with, it has to be majroor. So here it is and Allah. Jayyid. So and Allah is with the virtues, the goodness, and all of these things. The dhu coming as the owner. Allah has this thing in him. Jayyid. So now that we're done with the first part of al-asma al-khamsa, what did we, just quickly, what we have to know in the first part is that we just have to know these 5 words. We have to know these 5 words. Make sure you memorize them. Only 5 words, guys. That's all we ask. Only 5 words. You have to memorize them. Usually, not usually, it's actually one of the rule is that in Arabic language, when you have ism, the noun, it needs to be at least 3 words. Sorry, at least 3 letters. Okay, so when you say ab, we have 2 letters. But when you say we don't have a problem because we have a shadda. That means we're saying 2 memes. But when you say ab, there's no shadda, so we are missing a letter here. Same thing with akh. We're missing a letter. So this is one of the interesting thing, and you will see it will be super important as soon as you do anything with like when you do dual, because the letter that is missing is waw. It is very important that you understand the letter that is missing in akh is also waw. Why? How would we say 2 brothers? Akhani? Big problem. You taught us just add alif and noon. I have the akh and I'm supposed to add alif and noon. No, in here you have to bring back your waw. Akhawani. Yes, you have to bring back your waw. Akhawani. And inshallah, this will be one of the things in our conditions that we'll talk about this. Okay, so make sure the first thing, this is something side note right now, make sure you know that all 5 words, and the first condition. The first condition you need to know, they have to be mudaf, and you will see the condition. So let's start with the conditions. The conditions, i'rab of the 5 nouns. First thing that you need to know, they are by huruf. Remember this Ajrumiyyah, he's trying to separate, he's trying to show you that we do i'rab in 2 ways. We do i'rab by haraka and we do i'rab by huruf. So here we do by huruf, apparently, because we're changing the waw and alif and ya. So, but we have a lot of conditions. So he divided the condition into 2 categories. First category is that, firstly, ashurut al-amma, meaning the general conditions, which means that these conditions applies to all 5 of the nouns. These conditions, what he's going to mention them, they apply to all of the words. What are they? Number one, it's saying it has to be mufrad, meaning your word, the ab, it has to be mufrad. What does it mean? It cannot be dual, it cannot be plural. It cannot be dual, it cannot be plural. So don't think the word itself has any significance. That's what we're trying to say. That's why this is very tricky. Same word, it is not Asmaul Khamsa, it becomes Asmaul Khamsa when these conditions are met. So when you have Aba, the one which is Abawani, well, this is dual. It will be Arab of the Muthanna. And if it's plural, Aba, then it is plural. It will be your Jamu Takthir, which is, what is Jamu Takthir? It is your asal. So the main thing you have to know, what they're saying is that it has to be mufrad. Second thing they're saying, it has to be mukabbar. Mukabbar, okay? Meaning in Arabic, a word can be in 2 different states. It can be almost, as far as I know, every noun you can do tasghir, meaning it can be, let me give you an example. So you are saying that you're making something into smaller, meaning you have ab, and you can say ubay. Ubay. They can say ukhay. When you say abd, that's the word that I actually wanted to give you example. When you say abd, what is abd? Is the slave. And you know this name, Ubaid, right? Ubaid. This Ubaid, you mean, small slave. Yeah, small boy in very interesting way. Sometimes they use it for example, if you have a small born, you want to call him, oh, look at this small servant of Allah, right? So you want to say Ubaid. You're saying it like that. You understand this this feeling? But I'll tell you something. In Arabic language, there's 2 signs. You have the nahu and you have the sarf. Most of the grammarian will say the most difficult subject in the nahu is the nida. The nida is like when you say, oh Muhammad, ya Muhammadu, ya waladu. This is one of the most difficult topic in nahu. And when we get there, you will see why. There are so many different rules. You think it's so simple. You just say, Ya Muhammadu, lose the tanween. Life is so simple. You don't know how many rules you have for nida. So this topic, inshallah, I will try to put it all in the end. So this is one thing you have to know. And the second thing is when it in terms of the sarf. Sarf is like how you form the word, not the ending. The sarf deals with how you form the word. For example, this is a part of the sarf. This topic is part of the sarf. In the sarf, the most difficult topic is tasghir, this topic. This is one of the most difficult topics. But these are not super important, but at the same time, I'm just letting you know, this is one of the very, very complicated advanced topic in the sarf. So that's what he's saying, that he's saying basically it cannot be in this form. It has to be in the standard form. And the third condition is it has to be mudaf, which I've been mentioning. This is even more important thing. It has to be mudaf. It cannot be mudaf ilahi and it has to be on idafa. Simple as that, it has to be mudaf. If it's not mudaf, you are not talking about, you're not even in the same topic. Okay, come back when you add this word into idafa. And the fourth topic is fine, it is mudaf, but it cannot be mudaf to ya of mutakallim. Meanings, what is ya of mutakallim? You cannot be mudaf to ya. So it cannot be abi. Now, I want somebody to think why they put these conditions. I want somebody to really think and give me the right answer. First of all, I'm going to explain what they're saying. They're saying that it has to be mudaf. So that means it can be mudaf to any other pronoun or anything. So you have abuka. Abuhu. It can be mudaf to any. It can also be Abu Bakr. But they're saying except for the ya. Why? Why do you think that? It's good. You're in the right track. But I want to know a little bit more because we talked about these things. It's talking about mudaf ilayhi. It's not talking about the mudaf, meaning that basically you're saying that I can add any of these pronouns. Asmaul khamsa can be mudaf to anything else, meaning it can be mudaf of dhamir, it can be mudaf of ism zahir, doesn't matter, except for the ya. Why? Because we have done ya. What is the ya? What happens when you have ya of mutakallim? Who can tell me? Spend times on it. Okay. What did we say? Mudaf ila ya of mutakallim. Anything coming back to your head? Anything coming back? We already covered this topic. So it's not that it's going to have two different Arab. It will be the same Arab of anything. So what does it mean? What is the Arab of ya of mutakallim? It will be taqdiri. So when we have ya, then it will be your taqdiri, which we already covered. That means we estimate, we say it's dhamma muqaddara. It will be fatha muqaddara. It will be kasra muqaddara. Because what happens? Because when you say, see, as you can see, when we say ja'a, we say ja'a abuka. Yes? I'm just going to do one more, not too many. Ra'aitu abaka. So what are you going to do when you say, my father? Are you going to put wow? No. You're going to say ja'a abi. Okay, you saw my father. Are you going to say alif? You're going to say abai? No, you will say abi. Because why? Because this is taqdiri. It will never change, which we have covered. That's why we have to make an exception. Yes, we're saying mudaf, but we have to know we already have this situation when this is mudaf to ya of mutakallim, then it is taqdir. And here you have to say that it is yurfa'u by what? Dhamma muqaddara. Yunsabu bi fatha muqaddara. Make sense? It's very important that you understand. Definitely. Trust me, as I said in last class, I mentioned we are not. The good thing about this class, I'm trying to make it simple. Think about it's a long journey. Don't worry too much about finishing everything. Just worry about what we're learning. At least try to solve those, because we haven't even started anything about grammar yet. We're just talking about how to identify these states. We don't even know when to put these states. We are not saying anything. So things will get a little bit more interesting. Okay, so these are the conditions. So we have 4 conditions. So these 4 conditions has to be met by all of them. It has to be mufrad, and it has to be not tasghir. It has to be like in the standard form, and it has to be mudaf, and it cannot be mudaf to ya of mutakallim. Jayyid. I'm not going to go through examples here, and because he will be going through, as you see, every one of these conditions. I don't think we have to read through all of them. So he's going through all of these conditions. Only thing that I have to mention before I wrap up, which is this condition is a shurut al-khasa. The specific condition. So that means we have 2 words that they have their specific conditions. The other condition that we mentioned, it also includes in them, but the zu and fu, they have additional condition that you have to understand. I'll just simply mention zu has to be in the meaning of sahib. It has to be in the meaning of that possession. This is one thing. So it's not a big deal because, as I said, you guys even don't know how the zu comes as a relative pronoun. See, it has to be antakuna bi ma'ana sahib. So this is one thing. And second thing, which is just is even more complicated, but I'll just simply mention, they're saying, it has to move up to ismul jins. It's a big topic, guys. Right now, just think about it. You cannot have zu with dhamir. It has to be clear. And the other ones, you don't even know what masdar. We haven't talked about masdar. We haven't talked about the other thing. If you understand the two issues with the dhu is that it has to be meaning of the sahib, and it cannot be mudaf to domir. It has to be ismu dhahir. Okay, meanings clear noun, like name, anything. So you cannot say dhuka. You cannot say that. You understand? Inshallah, later when you understand a little bit more, you can read this one through. You can say fahm, which is masdar. You can use the masdar. You can use a verbal noun. One of the best thing to do is use the verbal noun, because if you say I'm with the knowledge, or he's with the knowledge, so you want to say dhu al-waladu, al-waladu, the boy is with the knowledge. So you can say dhu alim. That's what they're saying. Alim means he is an adjective. He is knowledgeable. You cannot say he is, even in English it would not make sense. You cannot say that he is with knowledgeable. That's not the meaning. You want to say he is with knowledge. That means he has knowledge. You cannot say he has knowledgeable. So you have to use the verbal noun. You have to use the masdar. So you have to say dhu ilm. Make sense, guys? So this is what they're saying. It's very important. I'm not saying it's not important, but I just think it will be, honestly, we have a few more minutes left. And plus there's other concept that you have to know. Inshallah, as you study Arabic more and more and more, you will get familiarities with a lot of them. Anyway, so inshallah, I think you guys understand. And as far as the fu, only thing he's saying that, which is not that complicated, fu, but main thing you have to know about the fu is that you cannot have the meme. Basically, the word is fu. You cannot say with the meme, fam. They're saying you cannot have them. Once you have the meme, then it is your standard noun. Make sense? Whether it is hard or not, I'm telling you, don't underestimate al-asma al-khamsa. This is extremely important topic in Arabic language. Very, very important because of how often we use, especially ab, and dhu. These three words, left and right, it will come. If you're anything but 100% with these words, you will easily miss something. You will easily make mistakes. Make sense, guys? So what do we have? We have al-asma'ul khamsa. So for example, I'll just give one abuka. So what do we say? It is marfu alamatu raf'ihi. Help me out, guys. Help me out. Help me out. Alamatu raf is what? Yes, al wow. Now, do you think it's complete? Do you think it's good enough? You're saying it's marfu, but you're saying the alama is the wow. No, it's not good enough, because if, as I explained to you, if you say anything other than the asal, because the marfu it should be dhamma, then you have to explain why you are saying wow. So here you will say li annahu. I think it's better to say minal asma'il what khamsa. Okay, so the rest would be same thing. So abaka, I can just probably copy here. Mansub. I have to say here would be what? Alif, right? Alif. I can say abika. And here it would be same thing. And I'll just change it to majrur.